Hello out there. My name is Ayokunle, and you are on to Inside Sources. But first, here is your take. Today is your take, not my take. Is the feedback from our viewers. Let's start with the edition that featured Omoyele Sowore, and it is coming from Akisman. He says, either we like it or not, Omoyele Sowore is the most fearless Nigerian alive. And then still on that edition, we have from Egbiwe David. He says, we are under Tinubu military rules. A response to the edition that features Sowore. Still on that edition, we have from Zobo Tian 08446. Omoyele Sowore is a gift to Nigeria only if we as the masses can realize this sooner than later. Quite interesting. Now we go to my take. Feedback on my take that was titled Appeasement to the Wicked, a memo to the Senate President and Majority Leader. The first reaction is from Frankfurt, China. He says, God bless you and continue to bless you as you continue to hold our selfish politicians accountable. Thank you very much. He says from Onyekachi from Enugu State. From Royal Ronek 3516 says, sir, you have done well and indeed exonerated yourself, exonerated myself, okay, by saying the truth. As one of the few Nigerian journalists with integrity, we have quite a lot of journalists with integrity, by the way, actually. We move along to Pascal Chidi Ebere. He says, I love you, sir. All media should join the fight against the principalities and powers, Akpabio and co. I hope those guys are listening. This is from Samson Oyebanji. He said, Laulu, your patriotism and sense of responsibility is highly appreciated. Hope Akpabio, Okoyemi Bamidele, and their co-travelers will come to their senses. Next one is from Christopher Udo. He says, God bless you, Laulu. A well-said real-time transmission of results or no elections. I like that that firmness. He says, that give us the e-transmission or no elections. Interesting one. Now we come to the episode with Mr. Jamiu Abiola, the son of Chief MKO Abiola and Mrs. Kudirat Abiola. This is from Bean 3530. It says, Madam Kudirat will be happy in heaven. Continue to rest in peace. Next is from Tim Tekal. It says, I'm meeting our mother, Kudirat Abiola's son, for the first time. I so much like this man. Moving along with from Chide XIYI, say, well spoken, my friend Jamil. And finally, these are the next set of responses are for the edition where we spoke with Mr. Yakubu Dogara, the former Speaker of the Federal House of Representatives. The first one comes from How Far Fred. He said, what our government officials don't understand is that American government is very much more aware of everything happening in Nigeria. They also know that our government is too corrupt and untrustworthy. We are working on that. That will change. The next one is from Emmanuel Wa. He says, Speaker, that is Speaker Dugara, what do you mean by Nigeria's future may be destined without the US? I think it was very clear to say that we have to get ahead of these things and do for ourselves what is right. And there you have it. That's your take. Inside Sources will be right back with two segments today. I'm hoping with an interview with the former president of CAN, and then I'm concluding with an interview that I started on Friday on the implementation of state police. Don't go away. Welcome back to Inside Sources. Today, I'm leading the show with a conversation with the former president of the Christian Association of Nigeria, who is also former president of the Nigerian Baptist Convention, a leading Nigerian prominent religious leader. I'd like to welcome back to Inside Sources, Reverend Dr. Samson Ayokunle. It's good to see you again, sir.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ayokunle. Thank you for the good work you have done for our nation. May the Lord continue to make you more impactful in Jesus' name.
Amen, amen. Thank you so much, Your Eminence. So let's just start from the recent developments around preparation for the 2027 elections. There has been quite a bit of of controversy around electronic transmission because a lot of people believe that it's important for us to inspire the confidence of Nigerians to get involved in the electoral process. And there has been this clamor to have electronic transmission of results unconditionally. But it turns out that the National Assembly has said yes to electronic transmission of results, but they put a proviso to say that, okay, when that the technology doesn't work, then there will be a backup plan. Now, many people amongst Nigerians have said that we don't need that kind of exception rule because the exception itself will become the rule. And I wanted to know, Your Eminence, how do you read those developments?
Well, thank you, moderator. I think that the present electoral law that we have is an improvement post pandemic. Now we have it as number one priority that results will be transmitted electronically, and that has given the umpire INEC and the federal government also a big task to do because it is important that they make sure that we have network in all the polling stations, which will, I think, will still be in the places where we have the polling stations after the election, improving the law of the people residing in those places. This is what the government ought to do even without the election in Iran. So this is a tall mandate given to INEC. And I know with the integrity of the INEC chairman that I've known before now, a man that had desired before now, and up to now, I believe that Nigeria can be better than this. The election umpire will do everything within them to make sure that most of the results from the polling stations are transmitted electronically. However, the proviso by the National Assembly, I see as maturity. I wouldn't see it the way some people are saying it. They are saying it the way they are saying it because they don't have any belief in the umpire. If we don't have belief at all in the umpire, we don't need to go into election. We need to begin to have some confidence in the people that we have put in position. But I think politicians also know themselves. If the politicians will allow INEC to work, if both those in power and those who are not in power, if they will allow INEC to do its work, I think we have a law now that will not give anybody embarrassment. But where there is unfaithfulness, even if that proviso of doing manual transmission, if the network fails, is not there. If the people who are administering the nation and the electoral umpire, if they are unfaithful people, we will still not have transparent election. So let us give challenge to the people, the umpire, that they give a better name, a good name to their children that will come after them by serving this nation than serving individuals. They need to do their best where we have network that they transmit the result electronically, and that will give the results that we have more integrity than other one.
Very, very interesting. I like what you said that politicians among themselves, they know, their games, their chicanery, and how it is that the process can be manipulated. And I share that view also, that there's a bit of mistrust even among politicians. But my own concern, was heightened because I think it was Sister Obi Ezekwesili that explained that in Nigeria, when you give an opportunity for an exception, to the rule, and if that exception it becomes something that people can take advantage of, then the exception becomes the rule. I mean, she said that was her experience when she was doing, the work of trying to sort out procurements. So that itself, I think the fact that, well, maybe politicians know what they are doing, but like you said, it is the integrity of the umpire, INEC, that is important. So I wanted to ask you, personally, you sound like somebody who can vouchsafe for Professor Joash Amupito. Is that the case, sir?
Yes, very much. If you see his track record in a student profession as a lawyer and as a lecturer, he didn't have any scandal against him. He's a believer and a committed believer that holds tightly to the ethics of Christ, of Christianity, to be his best wherever he is, and to love this nation, to serve this nation to the best of his ability. He was never a politician, but a professional, a dogged professional, somebody that has been clamoring for better people to lead us. I believe that now that God has given him the opportunity to lead us, he will do everything within his capacity to make sure that INEC under him gives all the Nigerians the hope they need to have. Not only that, he needs to be very, very, very much available to put eyes, to have a broad eye view of everything happening under him. Because I believe that there have been some people there before him that have known every corner, every bend of the way election is conducted here. And some may want to be funny. He should monitor very, very well so that few people which may be bad in INEC might be monitored, identified, and quickly dealt with before they will spoil the image of the race. If we cannot say totally that there may not be some people there working for one particular group or party or politician or the other. So monitoring is very, very important.
The participation of the people, what in other places they will call the get out vote effort. What can we do, Your Eminence, in trying to make sure that more and more Nigerians register to vote and actually go out to vote? A few weeks ago in Abuja, there was the FCT, council elections, and the turnout was quite abysmal. We had about, I think, over 90 million that registered to vote in 2023. But I'm not sure that we got half of the people that actually came out. So, in your own view, how can we get our people to understand that it's important for them to play an active role in the electoral process by going out to register and to vote? Your Eminence.
I think sensitization is number one, not only by INEC, but by the National Orientation Agency as well. At this time, we need to see more of the works of the National Orientation Agency. The dance that we dance in the public, begin dancing in the closet so that you can take accurate steps when you are out there in the public air. Let INEC and the National Orientation Agency begin to do sensitization, publicity, encouragement from local government to local government on different television stations about the importance of one single vote of an individual as far as in an election, as far as his or her future is concerned, that their votes, the vote they cast is their future. And they should not compromise it, neither should they stay at home saying that I am not interested. You should be interested in your future because your vote is your future. Number two, I think the politicians are the ones discouraging the people from going to vote. Beginning from the way, the language they use when they are campaigning. When you are already using the language that portrays the situation, winner must take off. That the opposition doesn't have a place, neither does the ruling party have any place. You are talking as if heaven will fall if people don't vote for you. You are already scaring people. People will prefer to stay in their homes than go out there and you using every power available to you to cause people, whether they like it or not, to vote for you, to do so. If people see it life and death for the politician, people will not go out because people prefer to hold on to their own life than to go and lose it for somebody who is super desperate to win the election. Not only that, we are already seeing signs that these politicians are appearing to be the greatest enemies of the people. You know, opposition members being attacked and with no concrete apprehension of anybody being responsible. One that just happened again in Rivers State. For what reason is that? To people not be free to campaign, even when the campaigning has not been full swing. All these things that are happening are showing us that these politicians are not normal human beings that the rest of us are. What's the matter? Can everybody belong to the same party? And if we belong to different parties, is it not because we want to help the nation develop from different angles? Why should not be free movement of people from place to place? And everybody will be denied, I am not responsible, I'm not responsible. Is it the spirits that are responsible for the violence that is taking place? These are the ways by which the politicians scare the electorates from going out to go and vote because everybody owes his or her life. Very important. So these politicians should be warned, and those empower the police, the law enforcement agencies to be on red alert, to be able to cope instances like this that are already happening. To be able to pull the people, apprehend them, and sanction them.
I'm sorry for interrupting. Just so that our viewers will understand what you're saying. You're talking about what happened in Rivers State, the reported attack on Mr. Rotimi Amici, the former governor of the state and former minister, who was trying to set up the ADC campaign in the state. You know.
Yes, and the one that happened also in Edo.
In Edo State previously, yeah.
Obi and others got all their vehicles vandalized in Vade. If they didn't run well, some of them have been either being in hospital or being the world beyond now.
And you are making the point that it is instances like this that also influence the poor turnout of Nigerians at the polling stations because they don't want to get involved in the violence.
People are scared. They are scared. They are scared because it appears that our politicians want to just vote for themselves. They didn't want anybody to come out and vote any longer. When you don't allow the atmosphere to be peaceful, nobody will be ready to come out.
Very, very, very important point. I wanted to say, just before we leave that point, that as a religious leader, do you also think that religious leaders, both Christians and Muslims, can also play a significant role in ensuring that their congregants, register to vote and go out to vote? I wanted you to say something on that before we move on, sir.
Yeah, that was the reason I talked about sensitization. You know that even not only the religious leaders, even the teachers in the school, to encourage their students in the voting age, those who are 18 years and above, to go and vote. Because whatsoever is the action of the politicians after the election, we also affect education. We affect the facilities that are available in our schools, our tertiary institutions, etc., etc. So in the tertiary institutions, in the secondary schools where children, some of the children are above 18, and colleges of technology, education, etc. All these leaders there to be involved in sensitizing the students about going out to vote on the day of election so that their will, what they want in their hearts, might be the one that will come to pass. The right politicians might be voted into power to lead them.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much. Let's move on to the state of the nation. In another 2 months, it will be 3 years that the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu administration has been in government. I wanted to ask you, how do you read the state of the nation today? And you can take it to whichever dimension. Is it security? Is it economy? We've talked a bit about the politics. How do you read the state of the nation? Where are we today in your own view?
Well, by the grace of God, we are alive today. Nigeria is still existing, and we should give glory to God for that. But beyond that, let's also objectively examine the situation on ground. We were at a stage before where we learned that I think the then governor of Edo State cried out that they were going to Abuja to share the money that we didn't work for. That the government was printing money and they were sharing it. And that the economy is going to totally collapse if that type of practice to continue. That was the state we were before. But I think that we are not in that state any longer. Though what removed that from the way was not very palatable. It was painful and it is still very painful. A lot of acts have been introduced, and the people appear to be poorer because of what I see as unending taxes. Whereas the government doesn't bother where the money is coming from. Even people that are not actively working any longer, people that have served the nation and on pension, they are being taxed, they are being forced to go and buy petrol to move out at exorbitant prices. The subsidy has been removed, all in an effort to improve the economy. But the cushioning of the effect of all these very, what I would call draconian economic policies, the cushioning, what you will use to cushion the impact is not very much well set out. People are left on their own to sort out all these things. And government, that is not the best picture the government should have. But in terms of all these economic steps yielding fruits, I don't think that somebody who has objective mind will deny that. We are already seeing that the external reserve is increasing. If external reserve increases, then Naira will have more value. And our economy will have more respect from the outside world. We are seeing the prices of some food items already coming down, especially Gariak, which is a staple food of many poor people, is coming down. The cassava farmers are now lamenting because the sale of cassava is not as costly as it used to be because it has come down. So the economic policies, they are yielding in terms of the prices of some food items coming down. But the government should also think of the prices of other things that are increasing. Cement is increasing daily and daily again. And people still need housing. We should not see building as something that is elitist. Housing. And if you say that, well, the poor cannot build, I'll let them go and rent. The cost of rent is increasing. To rent house now, even to buy land, to rent, all these are increasing. How will the government be able to come in? Is it by aggressive housing scheme that people will see beyond rhetoric? We will see these houses on ground in a short while, not the one that they will start constructing and will never end. So these are the things objectively I am very close to the people. I live in the midst of the people, and I'm also among the people that is experiencing the impact of the economic policy. Retirees don't even have any say now. There is no hope for them, no plan for them by the government. These are vulnerable people that the government should not forget. And the plan is not all retirees are on what do they call it? The high pension.
Pension.
And those with their pension, they have very high pension. How much is it when there is a galloping inflation? When the inflation is running away, it erodes the economic power of everybody. Sincerely speaking, things are very costly, especially the manufactured things. They are very costly. In what way are we going to bring in, encourage, promote industrialization, production, to make articles available, create a conducive environment for investors to work? This is where the issue of security is very important. Investors will not come to a place where it will cost them 3 or 4 times more to protect their investment than the place where provision is made for security. Nigeria is becoming a place everybody's dreading because attack is everywhere. That is the truth. Attack is everywhere. In the Southwest here, which have witnessed respite for a long time, is no longer so. Kidnappings here and there, they are happening. Even in the city of Ibadan here, there is no There is hardly any part of Nigeria now where these kidnappers, bandits, government are not operating.
Mm.
What is happening to our law enforcement agencies? When somebody will say they are trying, if they are trying, they are not enough. The number of those that are securing our land, they are not enough. Let the government recruit more. This is the biggest task they have to do now, is spoiling the name of the government. Why should people be, communities should be gathering money together to go and pay ransom to the kidnapper? And people wouldn't have gone to pay ransom if they are sure that immediately after people are kidnapped, then the law enforcement agents will be able to get at the kidnappers and rescue their people for them. But if anybody banks on that, then that person will regret it, because the kidnappers are having a field day in their enclave. And I cannot say that the law enforcement agents are not aware of where the retracts, these bandits, these government are. It is only maybe there is a complicity, or they are afraid that the weapons that the state has given them is not enough to match that of the bandits, the terrorists, the kidnappers that are operating around. So this has to be addressed alongside all the economic policies, so that investing in our country might become a thing of attraction to the industrialists, to the investors. Come on. Otherwise, with the way the cost of things are going, especially in terms of the provision of housing for the people, the government has not done enough.
Mm. Okay, I mean, very, very, very good point. So, do you think, or are you hopeful that we are going to be able to get this state police done? Because a lot of people believe that if we break down the Nigerian police force into state commands, where the local elected officials, the governor can have more authority, everybody takes care of their own security, that might be able to help. So the president has spoken about it recently. The new Inspector General of Police has also set up a committee to implement state police. Are you hopeful that this might help us to deal significantly with the problem of insecurity, Your Eminence?
All other things being equal, that should be able to help us. But it is when we put everything in proper perspective. Putting everything in proper perspective, what do I mean? I mean that if the law will cater for the misuse of the police, either for violence against opposition or violence during election, and also violence against that we perceive as enemies. If all those things that are the fears of the people about state police are already catered for in the law, and the law has already nipped them in the bud, then, and if the state governments will properly equip the state police and also be very meticulous in the the recruitment of the people in the police force. If bad people are still recruited into the police force, or then the expected list that we want to have from all this violence in our society, we might not be able to get. The recruitment is very important. Are you being circumspect to make sure that you don't recruit the bandits? into the police force. The government who have been looking for opportunity to use the cover of the state to do more mayhem. The major aspect of, the functionality of the state police rests on those in power. They should do all within them to curb all the excesses that may occur when the state police is being operated through the law. And we should appeal to the governor. The governors have great stake in the way that the state police will work. If they want it to work, it will work. But if they use it for religious purposes, for political purposes, and for economic purposes, to their own benefit, then in some states, things might be worse than before. But if all these things are taken care of, and if they also speak to their consciences, not to be an enemy to their states, but to use the state police to defend their people, to give them good governance, I think that state police will help us have better security. The Yoruba people say, Agbajo ọwọ́ la fi ń sọ̀yà. That is, it is when we join hands together that we can achieve more. If the federal government still retains the national police and the states complement that, then they will be able to push up and down and put the bandits in the middle and handle them properly. So I believe that it should be better. And we will be able to hold each state governor responsible if the insecurity continues in one state and there is improvement in another state. I know that the citizens of the states or those who are resident in the state where there is continuous insecurity will be able to hold such a governor responsible for not doing what is expected to do.
Yeah, I agree with you, sir. And that's an excellent point. That once we have state police and state has the authority to secure their territories, we will find out some of the governors will be doing a good job, and that will challenge those who may be sitting on their horse. Very important point there that you make, Your Eminence. Now, as I begin to wrap up, I want you to also talk about, the developments that we have seen in the relationship between Nigeria and the United States, especially since after the December 25 Christmas Day bombing, when the Americans helped us to blast the terrorist camps in Sokoto. A lot of things have happened since then. They have sent us some equipment to help our surveillance and intelligence. As a matter of fact, as we are speaking, there are 200 U.S. Military officers on the ground in Nigeria helping to train, develop capacity, and support our military in the fight against terrorism. And of course, there was this report that was released less than 2 weeks ago from two committees of the U.S. Congress to President Trump, who had asked them to give him a report on Christian persecution in Nigeria. Since all of those times, we've not get the opportunity to get your response, Your Eminence. How do you respond to some of these things? Maybe we take it one at a time.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. I think the relationship between the U.S. in terms of military collaboration towards the extermination of the violence that we have in Nigeria is a welcome development, right thinking. You know that some of us have been crying before me, that there is no shame in it. If you are trying to win a battle on your own, and it appears that you are failing, and you have a friend around that can beef you up, help you to overcome the enemy you cannot overcome by yourself. I don't think there is any shame in it than for you to seek for that assistance. We have been clamoring for Nigeria, reaching out to United States and other developed nations of the world to help them take the war to the terrorists wherever they are in this country, to free our country and free our citizens from all the harassments and the untimely deaths that have happened in our nation. The dreams of many people have been put an end very suddenly, just because the government didn't do what they ought to do on time. This is a welcome development. As long as the coming of America is not another imperialism, it is not a ploy to enslave us. When it is coming to enslavement, we have the right to say no. We don't want this relationship again. But America also knows that the whole world is watching. And bringing them in to train our military in the areas where they may be having deficiency, and bringing equipment that can also help do our work better. I don't think to a right thinking person that will bring any concern. So this is a welcome development, and I just hope that we will make the best use of this opportunity to be able to put these enemies of the nation at bay and allow the citizens to have opportunity to breathe. Not only that, on the issue of genocide against the Christians, whether people like it or not, many Christians have been killed, many Christian infrastructure been destroyed in this nation before now. And if you are saying that they are killing others as well, if Christians cried out and help has come, will the help come for the Christians alone? Will the killings not stop? What I'm very happy about is that this cry now has brought the attention of the entire world to Nigeria.
Yes.
And has also put our leaders on their toes to change the narrative. The narratives must be changed, and the cry will not stop until the killings in Nigeria
stop.
Because if we stop the cry of this genocide against the Christians, you don't know who the next victim is going to be. You don't know. Those who are saying that there are no genocide, if the killings should stop in Nigeria, will the killings not stop for whoever is being killed, whether Christians or Muslims? So I think America to continue to request for accountability from our leaders on the issue of genocide. When no Christian is being killed, I believe that killings in Nigeria is receding, and killings in Nigeria will stop. What we aim at and what America believes aims at is that the wanting killings of people, which appears not to matter anymore in our nation, should stop. Because God attaches great value to the soul of an individual, not to talk of many people that are being wiped away with reckless abandon in our nation.
Yeah.
And glory to God that, to me, America is God sent. It's a divine intervention in our nation. The killings must stop. The leaders must rise up to this occasion and do the need. If we have those who are compromising the security of this nation, let them be identified and let them be punished. They are enemies of the nation. No matter how highly placed they may be, they are enemies of the nation. We have no other nation to run to. And all these wanting killings, insecurity, and the nonsense happening in our nation have driven many of our children out of this country. That if they can't even get employment, should they not be able to sleep and close their eyes? So our children are running away, including the children of our leader. Their fathers are leading the nation, and they are not still proud of the nation. They are running away. That is where the leaders should be ashamed. You are in charge to bring peace, bring hope to the people, and your own children cannot stay. They are running away. It means that they don't believe in you. You are not doing enough.
Thank you.
Government should rise up to this situation of insecurity and bring Nigeria back to normal again. Nigeria is not normal now until bandits don't roam freely on our streets any longer. May the Lord help our government to do the needful, cooperating with other peace-loving people that want to help to be able to achieve it.
Thank you so much, Reverend Dr. Samson Shukpo Ayokunle, the former president of Christian Association of Nigeria and the former president of the Nigerian Baptist Convention. Thank you for the frankness of your voice and the clarity of your thought. And thank you for coming to Inside Sources.
Thank you, moderator. God bless you, and God bless Channel Television.
Thank you. Amen. Amen. Thank you so much. That was Reverend. Thank you so much. That was Reverend Samson Shukpo Ayokunle, the immediate past president of the Christian Association of Nigeria. Inside Sources will be going to a second concluding segment where the conversation that I started on Friday on the implementation of state police with our security strategist, Dr. David Okoro, we will conclude that session.
Okay, but what do you say to some of the areas of concern that people have, and what do you think the legislators in National Assembly ought to be looking at in structuring state police? There have been concerns of, the governors are going to have so much powers and they might abuse state police, and then what should be the relationship between the state police and some retention of federal police?
Well, excellent question, because this is where the big problem is. And it will be resolved through legislation, through what the president have urged National Assembly to do. First of all, we do need to amend that section 214 that talks about policing and all that.
Yeah, on the Constitution.
On the Constitution. Then too, there will be the need to take out policing from the exclusive legislative list. Right now, the exclusive legislative list is where the policing is. Yeah. So we take it out from there and bring it to the concurrent, so that the federal and the state houses can legislate on policing. And then there will be the need to demarcate the powers of the federal police and the state police. These are the things that the law that National Assembly should be making, because these are the areas where people are worried. But when the legislation is properly structured, it will take care of all the area of worry. So if you know what are the distinct roles of state police and what are the distinct roles of the federal police, that's what one of the things the legislation will do. And then third is the issue of mechanism for power control, or mechanism for the operations of the state police, because this is where everybody is worried that the governors are going to become super people because they now have an armed police under their control. But the legislation will need to define clearly how state policing should be. We have where to start from. Remember that the former Senate president, Vice President, what's his name now? Ekweremadu did some work, and another policeman, can't remember his name now, also did some work on that can be as a basis on how state policing can be run. But what we do need the law to have is to have safeguards as to how powers can be used. I give you an example. One of the areas that we then need to look at is how do you recruit the head of state police, for instance, in your state. How do you recruit the head of state police? Is it going to be appointed by the governor? People are afraid that if it's appointed by the governor, then there's going to be issue. Is it going to be controlled or given oversight by the governor? And we think that what should be done is that we need to have a board at the state level, state police board. Now, we will not have a state police force. At the federal level, we have Nigerian police force.
Right.
And as criminologists, we have debated this back and forth. Do we have a police force? Police is supposed to be civil. So why are you calling your own police force?
Yeah, I think it came out from the colonial rule.
So at the state level, what we should be having is state police service. Ondo State Police Service, for instance, because it's a civil force, it's a civil institution. Now, so how will the commissioner or the head, whatever you're going to call him, be selected? And we think that we will need to have, not leave that function to the governor. We need to have a body that constitutes of critical stakeholders in every state. You could call it the State Police Board. And that will constitute civil society, traditional institutions, intellectuals, intelligentsia, all sorts of stakeholders that will have representation in the board, where the process of recruiting the state police head will be determined, the remuneration, the controls, the promotion, and all that should be. So it will not be left in the hand of the governor. The second, of course, is going to be funding, because that's another area where the governor can also ambush anybody. And we feel that in the law that is going to be made, this should be made clear by the National Assembly how the state police should be funded. And I would think that we should have a system where from the first charge, from the federal government, from the National Revenue Fund, that state police should be funded directly, because again, if it is left in the hand of the state government, then it could be a place where you can apply pressure or whoever is there. So these are the things that we need to look at when the laws are being made by the National Assembly. But I think that whether all the issues of fear that we have will be addressed, and then you're talking about the use of arms by the state police. Again, there will have to be a proper mechanism that will control how arms are acquired, type of arms that are acquired and used. And by the way, the arms that will be used by the state police will be significantly less in capacity than that of the federal police. So I think that everything that people are talking about or are afraid about can be resolved through the legislation that is going to be made.
Raising the level of weapons and arming of private security companies in Nigeria. Do you think that we are at that time when we need to enlarge that space for private security to play a little bit more significant role in securing the country?
The Firearm Act is what everybody is referring to, that forbids private people from bearing arms. But I mean, apart from the ones that have license, but it does not allow private guard companies to have arms. But I think that used to be then. Again, it's because of the fear. Just like people had fear for state police, what will happen? Yeah. But now we are agreeing that we should have state police. Now, also for bearing arms by private security companies, it boils down to a matter of proper legislation and regulation. Policemen are not spirits, they are humans. They bear arms because they have been trained and the arm bearing is properly regulated. The military are not superhuman, they are trained to. So if you pick private security personnel and you train them and you regulate them, then of course they'll be able to do this. Look, across the world, take South Africa for instance, they have private security companies, right? They even go to other countries. When we needed missionaries in Nigeria, they came, and they were retired military people. So the question I always ask is, all the military people that have been retired are well trained, where do they go to? Because other countries, they simply move from...
Even retired police people too.
Police, DSS, and other armed people, they simply move from the official security to the private security, but we block this. So you ask yourself, all the people that have been trained in arm handling, arm training, weapon, and where are they? The private security is supposed to be a place where they can easily transit from being in the official security sector to the private security sector. That's number one. Across the world, take South Africa, take Kenya, and other progressive countries, the US, UK, private security bear arms. The fear is people are afraid, what would they do with the arm? can become a problem. I keep saying it that before IBB gave license to private broadcast organizations, it was always a fear that you don't give a license to own a television station or radio station to individual because it will become a threat to national security. But we are here today in channels. And you know what has happened because of private broadcasting in Nigeria. I ask you the question. Now, the president said police can no longer be security, provide protective security to VIP. So who is providing that protective security? So it's a gap that has been created. And if people don't bear arm, how do you secure?
Well, the president said the NSCDC should do that.
How many people are in NSCDC? The total number of personnel in NSCDC, I believe that they are less than 100,000. Now, out of that, you have marshals, you have mining marshals, you have people to protect critical infrastructure, you have those who are doing counter-terrorism, you have those who are supervising private guards company. How many people are left to provide protective security? We are even talking of drivers. We are talking about. So what we need to do, we have thousands and thousands of VIPs and dignitaries in Nigeria that are desiring to be protected. The young people are there who can become trained to bear arms. We have retired security personnel that have also retired. Why are we afraid of? If in the broadcast industry, we see how well they have done, why can't we do it? In South Africa, they have done it very well. And it adds so much to the economy.
I believe that we should bring all the solutions that we can
put them on the table, exactly,
to preserve and protect
our nation,
peace and security of our nation.
That's true.
Thank you for coming to Inside Sources, and thank you for your very insightful views.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Glad.
And there you have it, another edition of Inside Sources. Like we always say, Nigeria will prevail. Nigeria will prevail means Nigeria will win. Thank you for watching. My name is Ayokunle, and by the grace of God, I'll see you at the next edition.